Pontiac choir boys.
You ran away the other day. You said you had one price you'd pay. Why don't you stop around today? And we'll surrender here.
The important thing's got to be that you implant an idea out there and everybody, in a very human way, understands it, grasps it, and is excited by it. If that end result doesn't happen, I don't care how beautiful I think something is or how exciting the language is. If people don't react, I struck out. Boy, did I strike out.
That's really power, though, isn't it?
Power? Oh, I guess, sure. Oh, the feeling that you can come up with something, throw it out there. You just take it, and just boom, boom, like poison gas, boom. People got it. That's sensational. Oh, yeah, that's great. You're a kid? Yeah, sure, At the same time, there's almost nothing that you can't say that doesn't excite me. You can tell me matchsticks. Matchsticks? What an idea. Could I do a campaign for matchsticks? Almost
10
nothing.
great myths about matchsticks.
Guys who are really good at advertising, everything is interesting to them. Wow, what a campaign you could do for it. I think most of the good creative people I met in advertising really are, they're not the guys who are overeducated. They're not Harvard Business School guys. They're not guys who sit and go to school for 22 years and get degrees and figure it out. They really are, street types and guys who maybe are very, very bright, but whose instincts overpower, who grab a hold of their brains and they use their brains and instincts together, and they really are communicators. A corny word, but they are communicators, and they're not college professors. I never met a guy come out of Harvard Business School. I'm not knocking Harvard, but never met a guy out of Harvard Business School that's going to do good advertising.
Famous advertising is not just communicating the idea or informing or putting down what you're supposed to put down, but famous advertising is advertising where it's advertising people talk about. It talks about the advertising itself. And, there's a few examples of that. And if you can do advertising that when people say, did you see that commercial I saw on television last night where this happened or that happened, or did you see that ad? Holy shit. If you can do that kind of advertising, then that advertising becomes a benefit of the product in addition to the product.
Literally, the advertising will become a benefit of the product on top of what the virtues of the actual product. That sounds crazy. That sounds like manipulating, but why not?
Very truly yours, and get it out immediately, please.
Yes, ma'am.
The Olivetti girl types on an Olivetti Electric, the typewriter with a brain inside that makes the four most common typing mistakes absolutely impossible. But obviously not all Olivetti girls are girls.
The NOW Association, or whatever they are, Nationalization of Women, gave me a real hard time. In fact, they picketed out the Olivetti building. It was pretty funny. They told me they were picketing, and I went to Italy. But they had certain complaints. I think most of them were incredibly foolish. But they did have two complaints, which I took under advisement. One was that in all the commercials, I never showed a woman as an executive. My answer to that was, that's not my purpose. I'm not telling the American people that women can be executives. I'm trying to sell typewriters to women and the vast majority of secretaries in America are women. So I defended myself, but I thought about it. The other one is they were furious that I didn't show any male secretaries. Furious. I couldn't quite figure that out. It was like, But I thought about it. And the very, very, very last commercial you see is my answer to them. I think I did a commercial using Joe Namath that kind of settled the affair. In fact, they're still bewildered. They can't figure out whether it's the worst commercial in the world or the best commercial in the world.
I'm very pleased with your work, Joseph. By the way, what are you doing for dinner tonight?
Olivetti, the American Dream Machines.
Just saw George Lois's Olivetti commercials. How do you feel about those?
I think they're good in the old form, in the form we're all working in now.
What do you mean old form?
What I'm trying to do here today is find another way to sell. I just think we've used it up.
But there changes.
I mean, and probably he's the most brilliant
That's usually what it is.
of this way to do it. you know, to get attention, to do something very bright, to put across your message. But I have a feeling there's another way.
Do you have any ideas on what that way is?
I do, but I can't say.
Advertising should be ambitious. It should be overly ambitious. If you have a budget of $1 million, $1 million, you're going to be famous in this country. And the only way you get famous in this country is on television.
We're going to start a campaign in March for a company called Pirelli. You know, they have an international reputation.
Giant.
But in America, they're not famous. And when I say they're not famous, when I say famous, if my wife doesn't know a product, it ain't famous. That's my, you know, if I go home and say, Pirelli, she says, I love you too, then I'm in trouble, you know. If she said, and the people say, how do you judge famous? You know, I ask my wife, I ask a cab driver, and I ask somebody else. If those three people don't know, it ain't famous. But we're going to do a campaign in March for Pirelli, and they'll be spending the same amount of money just about that they spent the year before. And in fact, it's a campaign that gets awards. The Pirelli stuff gets awards. And it's shown out, it's got an award, you know. And I'm telling you, the advertising stunk. You know why it stunk? Because maybe it's a good advertising. You look at it, and a guy can look and say, gee, that's a very good advertising campaign. It has the facts, it has this interesting ad. But because it ain't famous, it doesn't work. It isn't good enough. We'll do a campaign in March that in April, it'll be well known. It'll be famous. I guarantee you. Well, I think you have to have one big idea, you know, and the big idea doesn't sound like an idea when I say it, but the big idea is an Italian girl selling Pirellis. Now, you can do that terribly. You can do that with a fake countess, with Camay soap, you know, which I guess is a successful campaign. I should knock it. But I think the idea of having her sell it in a delightful way, and having her change tires, and having her, pump gas, etc., that's the one thing you do remember. When you say Pirelli, you think of this Italian girl, this very beautiful Italian girl. You need one big idea. With Ovaltine, it was my old pal Ovaltine.
Hey, Jojo Rizzo.
My old pal Jojo Rizzo.
Mitch Goldman.
My old pal Mitch Goldman.
Eddie Alvarez.
My old pal Eddie Alvarez.
Put it there, pal. Shake hands with a glass of Ovaltine.
My old pal Ovaltine.
It's very easy to sell Ovaltine because it really has all the basic vitamins a kid needs. But the fact that a kid can see commercials with Joe Namath, you have to see the commercial, but the fact that a kid can associate himself with those commercials makes that Ovaltine taste better, literally. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that ain't mind-bending. You know, that ain't mind-bending. It's convincing.
What's mind-bending?
Mind-bending is when you make a guy think something that he shouldn't think. You know, it's convincing, but it's not taking a mind and saying, buy this product even though it's not good for you.
Do you think that goes on a lot in the advertising world, mind-bending?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's that good.
Sit there, pal, and shake hands with a glass of Ovaltine.
My old pal Ovaltine.
Ovaltine gives you more of the vitamins you need all day than any other milk flavoring.
My old pal Ovaltine.
A lot of them say, oh, my God, if I have to do a commercial, it's the low end of the business. A lot of actors feel the same way. If I do a commercial, I only do it for a couple of bucks, and then I'll become a great actor. You know, it's a whole different world. That kind of instinct is very different than the instincts of the guys like us in advertising who really love it. I mean, I love advertising. I mean, I love being able to do something and come up with a concept, and it's out there for 2 weeks, and everybody in the country's talking about it, and they're buying it. My client thinks it's wonderful. I feel terrific. My wife feels terrific. My kid thinks I'm sharp. I mean, that's, may not be the most important thing in the world, but it's something that I like to do and something that excites me, you know.
You like this all the time? I mean, do you have this much energy?
Yeah, is that energy? I was going to ask you that. Is that energy?
Are you ever down?
No.
Never? You ever get afraid that you're going to run out of energy?
Yeah.
It's contagious.
Someday, yeah, right.
It really is.
Someday you're going to die, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Jeff, that's Nature's way of saying slow down.
Yeah. Going to keep hustling until you die, right?